Guys, welcome into the AfterSchrock. Oh, we'll see how far I can go. I don't know if you could hear, but I'm super congested and sneezy, and I don't know what's going on. But my voice was a mess that whole show, so I apologize if people couldn't really understand what I was saying there. We don't want that usually. All right, let me get this open here because I closed out my computer and then I realized there were stories that I didn't get to during the program, so we want to make sure we get those covered. All righty, bada boom. There we go. All right, so first off, questions. I wanted to get some opinions because can I not post images on here? This is weird. I've never tried to post an image before live on here. I know I can post images on Facebook, but I don't know that I'd hate to have to do this with links. So there's that. No, I don't want to leave the site. That's not what I want to do. Bear with me while I figure this out in real time, guys. I'm going to try to drop a picture into the comment box. And it did not work. Love it. All right, we're going to have to do this with links. Okay, so the reason I wanted to use pictures, happy October, Mark. The reason I wanted to use pictures rather than laptops is because, or rather than pages, is because when you go to these pages, you're going to see like the laptop starting from $499. The laptops that we're talking about are not the $499 laptops. This is every year. If we do an Inspiron 5000, Inspiron 5000 sell for $400 at Walmart. How can you charge $1,500 for them? Well, it's not the same Inspiron as the one at Walmart, let me tell you. So anyway, there's two different, good morning, Carolyn, two different computers that we're looking at potentially for the holiday special laptop. The first is the Asus VivoBook. The VivoBook has a touchpad on it that is a phone screen, basically. Oh, this cord is bothering me to move it. So it's basically, here's a link to the Asus VivoBook page. But as you can see when you click on this link and look at it, the touchpad is literally a phone screen. And so you can put it in touchpad mode where you can use it as a touchpad, or you can use it, and I think it has a certain set number of things. You can use it for handwriting mode, so you can like write on it with a stylus if you wanted to, like a post-it note basically, and it comes on the screen. You can use it like a number pad. You can use it like a calculator basically. You already have a number pad on the keyboard though, so I don't know why you would do that. You can use it as a quick launch platform where you can launch apps like from the, if you want to launch Paint, you want to launch the calculator, you want to launch things like that, you can launch those apps directly from that with the touch of a single button as opposed to having to go through the start menu. Or like I said, you can just put it into touchpad mode and then it just works like a regular touchpad. So it might be a little gimmicky, I'm not sure. This is the thing, like one year we did 3D monitors with the holiday special. And we thought, all the guys thought they were really cool. And we learned a really valuable lesson that year, is it may have been really cool, but people didn't want it. And as a result, even though it was cool for the sake of cool, like no one was going to use it to watch 3D stuff, it was just not necessary. And instead, we could have taken that money and applied it somewhere else. Now, the problem that we have with laptops is there are basically two models that we can choose from that are within the price range of what we need to have, which is $14.99. The problem is, well, so I told you about the Asus one. Let me show you the other one. The other one is literally a Dell Inspiron 15-inch 2-in-1 notebook. Now, for those of you who looked at the holiday special last year, this laptop is going to look very familiar because it is the exact same body style as that laptop. In fact, it's the same processor as last year's laptop. Everything is the same. And there's a lot of reasons for that. We can get the 9th gen stuff, but it's you normal people aren't buying, right? Because it's just way too expensive right now, and it runs way too hot. So actually, the 8th gen chips are faster than the 9th gen chips because the heat management is a problem. So anyway, these are the two laptops we're looking at. We have the Dell 2-in-1. So the 2-in-1 is it opens like a laptop, but you can fold it all the way around backwards. You can carry it like a clipboard, or you can tent it on the table, so it's more like a display screen for someone to see. Basically, if you wanted to watch a video on it, you could tent it up and set it on the table, watch the kids watch it while they eat breakfast or something. You can do all kinds of cool things with it. So the thing is, it's the same look as last year. Literally, we could use the exact same pictures from the catalog that we used last year because the body is exactly the same as last year. Ugh. I don't want to use something that's exactly the same as last year. That's stupid, right? I mean, it's a great laptop, and it is upgraded internally, but it's the same external body as last year. The Asus VivoBook is different and exciting and new. And it's an Asus, which we really like, because Asus makes the parts that go into Dell anyway, but this is the Asus model. So it's going to have the USB-C ports that the Dell computer doesn't have. The Asus model, the only thing about the Asus model internally that's a little weird is they put 4 gigs of memory on the motherboard, and then there's one expansion slot. So if we wanted to, we could add another 8 gigs of RAM to that to get it up to 16, which is what last year's holiday special was. Or we could do something kind of cool. We could put a 16 gig stick in there and take it up to 20 gigs of RAM. But that's a really weird number, right? 20 gigs of RAM. Who has 20 gigs of RAM? But it would be 20 because it'd be 16 plus 4 is 20. And I don't think that those slots are going to handle anything bigger than a 16 stick. We would have to test it, order one and test it to make sure before we did that, before we offered it. So I guess take a look at those 2 links, guys. I know if they scrolled off your screen and you can't get to them, let me know and I'll repost them again. But take a look at those 2 links. One is an Asus and one is a Dell, and I want you to tell me which one you think would be better. They both have 15-inch screens. Other small differences is the Asus model has a small 10 key pad on the right-hand side of the keyboard. The Dell model does not. You might recall last year we had Bluetooth 10 key pads available as an upgrade for people who really wanted a 10 key. They both have IR cameras. They both have backlit keyboards. They're very, very similar computers. They'll have the same hard drives. They'll have similar memory configurations. One will have 16 or 20. The other one will have 16. So they're very similar computers. So I guess my big question is, I think it's really cool to have a second lit screen on the keyboard. Now the thing is if you're one of those people like me who is always using an external mouse, I don't disable my touchpad, but some people do because they're lazy typers. They put their palms down when they type, and if you have a touchpad down there, it's going to start touching things and launching things. So they disable the touchpad. So if we're offering a laptop that has a super cool touchpad on it, it's a color phone screen for a touchpad, but you're just going to disable it anyway? Why are we offering a laptop with a super cool touchpad? Again, we could go back and look at the Dell computer and possibly, offer something extra maybe, because the Dell computer is slightly cheaper than the Asus computer, but it also has less functions. It doesn't have a USB-C port. It doesn't have the 10 keypad. Both of them are touchscreen. Oh wait, no, actually the VivoBook is not touchscreen. So that's another, I think. Let me double check this. Because the touchscreen is interesting. Some people prefer the touchscreen, and some people don't. My wife, for example, does not. She had me actually disable her touchscreen. Frameless, nano edge display. Yeah, it doesn't say anything about touchscreen. So the Asus is non-touch, and the Dell is touch. So basically, my wife had me disable her touchpad or touchscreen because the kids come up behind it and they grab over the top of the lid like, "Hey, mom!" And of course, when little chubby, grubby fingers grab on the edge of the corners of the screen, where are those fingers falling when they come around the backside? On the little X to close your window, right? So they were like closing mom's programs while she was working, and makes it really hard to design a catalog for Schrock when kids keep coming along closing your windows. So she had me disable the touchscreen so that when they touched the screen, it wouldn't react. I have a touchscreen on this laptop, and I think I can count on one hand the number of times I've used it, and that was just because my touchpad was disabled. I didn't have my mouse with me, and I had to order a pizza in like 5 minutes because we were heading out the door, and I needed to get one so the kids had something to eat with the babysitter. It was like one of those kind of things, and it was just like it was too long for me to turn something on, so I'm just going to tap. It probably took me longer to tap it in with the on-screen keyboard and everything. But I don't use my touchscreen either. So it's one of those things. Everybody wants a touchscreen, but does anybody really use the touchscreen? It's not a tablet. So no one's saying anything. So I guess I don't know. I don't know. I know which one will look better on the catalog. The Asus will look better on the catalog. I know that the lovely Kimberly will have less work to do if I take the Dell because she won't have to do anything to the catalog but change the specs. So that's kind of fun. Let's see. My brother-in-law has the same problem with flies landing on his screen. Flies? Wow, I didn't know they were that sensitive. Flies can land on your screen and touch things, closing the windows? Dang, that's pretty crazy. So anyway, let's see. What did we not get to on the program today? Oh, let me get the correct mouse. Remember that cord that was bothering me? This was it. All right. We covered the out-of-band update. Oh, if your iPhone suddenly stops working, if you have an iPhone 6 or 6S, if it won't power on, the problem may be actually a faulty component. It looks like there's some defective components in some of the most recently manufactured 6Ss and 6s. The affected iPhones were manufactured between October of 18 and August of 19. Like I said, they're new. Owners who have already paid for a repair will be eligible for a refund. I don't know why you would have paid for a repair if your phone was manufactured October of 18 to October of 19. I guess in the last 6 days you could have paid for a repair if you bought it on the 1st. I don't know. But anyway, so if you have an iPhone 6 that you bought within that period of time and it stops powering on, Apple may fix it for free. Just a heads up to keep that in mind. VPN users. Now, most of these VPNs are actually European VPNs that were compromised by Russia. A VPN allows you to browse the internet anonymously. The government doesn't know who you are. Your internet service provider doesn't know what you're looking at. Otherwise, everybody knows everything you're looking at. Like everything you pull up on your computer at home, your internet service provider knows exactly what website you went to, how long you spent there, what you looked at while you were there, and then you moved on to another site. They know what device you were on as well. So they can actually pin it down to which device in the building or the home was using that particular website in that particular moment. So it's pretty trackable. A VPN makes it impossible for that to happen. VPNs are usually sold by subscription. Good ones are going to cost anywhere from $10 to $30 a month. No, we don't offer a VPN. No, I don't have any recommendations for VPNs. I mean, the Nordon, Nordon VPN is pretty good from what I've heard. I haven't used it myself. But the reason I don't recommend one is because of stuff like this. The second I recommend a password manager like LastPass, they get hacked. The second I recommend a VPN, it'll get hacked. And everyone will say, I was using that because Thor told me to use it. So do your own homework, figure out which one is the best for your particular application. However, the ones that were impacted by this were the Pulse Connect Secure VPN. Probably the most recognizable one is the Fortinet. The Fortinet device-based VPNs were hit. Let's see. Global Protect Portal and the Global Protect Gateway interface products were also hit. So this was really a kind of a targeted thing that hit very specific VPNs that have a specific vulnerability. If you use any of those VPNs, there is a patch available. You should install that patch right away. If you don't know what I'm talking about, don't sweat it. No problems. All right, Russian hacker group patches Chrome and Firefox to fingerprint secure socket layer traffic. So the thing is, when you have a secure socket layer, anything that you do on your computer's browser, so we just talked about how your internet service provider knows what websites you're going to because they deliver the content to your screen, right? That you're retrieving the website. So your internet service provider knows what you've been to. They share that with the government, so the government knows where you've been. We know where Joe Biden's son Hunter went. If he went to like how to get a Ukrainian gas contract, we know that. We know that if Donald Trump entered, how do I get rid of Joe Biden in the race? We know that. All right, so the government knows that. So you got to be fair, guys. You got to be fair and even-handed. I'm not here to tick anybody off about politics. I just lost a viewer. Did you see that? See how that works? But no. But once you're connected, once you're on a secure connection, information sent and received back and forth during a secure session is secure, which is why every website now should have a secure socket layer. So a Russian cyber espionage group has been spotted using a novel technique that involves patching locally installed browsers like Chrome and Firefox in order to modify their internal components. The end goal of these modifications is to alter the way the browsers are set up to use the secure socket layer connection and add a per-victim fingerprint to all the web traffic that comes from that computer. So what they're doing is they're just modifying, they're creating a fake patch to get Firefox or Chrome to install it automatically. And it's a spear phishing attack. They have to go after you. So if you are a diplomat or somebody like that, they're going after you. If you're, Sally Smith from, 12th Street, they're not going after you, okay? Some targeted individual out there is going to know that, oh, that's me, they're coming after me. We get the calls sometimes, guys, for real. For real. Eli had to do a computer repair for a customer. She made him sit in the driveway in 105-degree heat to work on her computer while a sheriff's department deputy watched him because she thought he might be implanting whatever the spyware is that's monitoring her entire family. For real. I spent a half an hour on the phone with a customer who was convinced that everybody all their technology was being monitored. They have a running joke in the house. It was little Timmy that was doing it in the house. And then they said, well, on our Hulu account, all of a sudden it came up one day, and you know how there's like, you could be Mary and Paul, and then it said little Timmy was a new added user. So whoever's doing this is listening to us. Oh, it's crazy. And then, as I go through everything, I'm approaching this logically, and she's telling me about all these hacks and problems. Somebody added themselves to their credit card account. I'm just like, wow, that's pretty secure stuff. How does that happen? They went and accused the neighbor of doing it, and the neighbor's kid of trying to steal credit cards and stuff. I mean, it was getting pretty heated and pretty hot, and she wanted us to come out and fix it. And I'm like, I have no idea. You already have Endpoint. You have every security product we offer. You're the only person getting hit by this. I have no idea how you're getting hit. I'm actually at a bit of a loss. Well, the more she explained to me, the more I realized through a process of elimination, there are only 2 people on the entire flippin' planet that could do the things that the credit card was the giveaway. That's when I was like, wait a minute. There's only 2 people that have access to that credit card account that could have added an authorized user. You or your husband. One of the 2 of you is doing it. And then, how do you very, very discreetly and politely suggest one of the 2 of you may have some kind of mental disorder, like multiple personality, that is, you're doing it and you don't remember doing it, or you don't know you're doing it, and then you're like, how did this happen? And your spouse is like, how did this happen? And you guys are living in constant fear. And so I said, just out of curiosity, are there any medications or anything? And then she tells me about all the medications her husband's on, and some of them he's been having some bad reactions to PTSD medication and things like that. There's some stuff going on, and I'm like, okay, so this is what I would like you to do, because one of the 2 of you is doing this. That's the only conclusion that I can come to. So what I want you to do, Sally, is I want you to change all the passwords for everything, and do not tell Paul what the passwords are. And let's wait a week and see if anything crazy happens. And if it does, then I want Paul to change all the passwords and not tell Sally what they are. And wait a week and see if anything crazy happens. I never heard back. So either I made that one. She seemed very calm on the phone when I suggested that it could be like psychosis. But I never heard back from her. So hopefully it got resolved. So anyway, those people are always watching and always listening. So yes, and no, I don't want any breadsticks from Olive Garden this week. That was I've had offers. It's pretty crazy. All right, so basically this is the hacker group Turla, Turla, that's doing this. According to a Kaspersky report, a Russian-made antivirus product that published this week, the hackers are infecting victims with a remote access Trojan named Reductor, through which they're modifying the 2 browsers. The process involves 2 steps. First, they install their own digital certificate on each infected host, and that allows the hackers to intercept any secure socket layer traffic going from the host. So now they can see what websites you're going to, and then when you arrive at those sites, your computer can essentially be fingerprinted. So then any other website that's being monitored that you go to after that, they know it's your computer going there. Very handy if you're a government that wants to monitor your civilians, basically. That's pretty much it. All right, let's see here. Moving on along. All right, how do you get your Mac ready for Catalina? That's right. If you missed that part of the show, we talked a lot about Windows upgrades coming out, but Mac has their own new operating system coming out, OS 13 Catalina. The iPad OS has already dropped. The big desktop OS could drop as soon as next week. Rule of thumb, if you can run Mojave, which is the current operating system, you can run Catalina. If you are not running Mojave, you need to upgrade to Mojave or Catalina. Or if you're one of the older OSs, every time a new one comes out, it obsoletes one of the older ones, which means you won't be able to get apps or support, things like that anymore, which means you have to buy a new iMac or MacBook or whatever the case might be. So now at least when Microsoft does it to its customers, they're like, you have to buy a new PC, and you're like, biscuits and gravy, I have to go spend $4.99 on a computer. Ah! Could be worse. You could have a MacBook Pro. Oh my, you're kidding me, right? $5,000 for a new MacBook Pro? But but it could be worse. No, so basically, if you have a MacBook that was made, some of them going back as far as 2012 will run Catalina. So, I mean, it's not like Apple's like horking people here, guys. I mean, 2012 is a long time. That's longer than Microsoft supports its stuff. So, going MacBook Air 2012, MacBook Pro 2012, Mac Mini 2012, iMac 2012 or later. Uh, Basically, anything after that is pretty much supported. Um, so let's see, before you do it, you want to make a backup. Make sure you have a time machine backup. This is no different than the Windows version of this. All sorts of bad things can happen if it doesn't work well. Macs actually mask bad hard drives really, really well. It takes a long time for a Mac user to figure out their hard drive is bad if it's not being monitored somehow or coming in for preventative maintenance checks. So if you have a Mac and your hard drive fails on you, if it fails during this update, you could lose everything. So please make sure you have a time machine backup. Um, Catalina is the end of the line for all 32-bit applications. So if you have an old version of Photoshop that's 32-bit, it will not run on Catalina. If you rely on them, you have to upgrade them, which you're going to have to buy a new version, or you're going to have to wait for the developer to get their act together and release a 64-bit version. Sometimes Mac software is a little slower to update and upgrade than PC software is to come out. Usually not for creative programs, but for other things sometimes. Let's see. You got to know your Apple username and password, which goes without saying. Most people would be like, well, duh. You will not believe how many times we check a computer right on the front desk and we're like, okay, preventative maintenance checkup, prepaid, got it. Evaluate you for an upgrade to the new version of Windows and check you for viruses. Is there anything else we can do? No? Okay, great. Is there a password on your computer, sir? No, there's no password. All right, sounds great. Print, sign, take it in the back. Password? Oh. This is so-and-so from Schrock, just giving you a call. Got to leave a voicemail about your computer. If you can give me a call back, my number is this, and we can't really do anything with your computer until you call me back. It just sits for a half a day while we wait for a return call. I didn't think it had a password. All right, try this password, and then it's right. You're like, you had to enter it every time you log into the computer. How do you not know? But some people don't. All right, so anyway, make sure if it's a laptop that the battery is fully charged before you do the upgrade. The last thing you want to have is a power outage, hit your house or something, and then in the middle of the update your battery dies. That would also be a no good, downright bad way to to end an update. All right, Google finds an Android 0-day impacting Pixel, Samsung, Huawei, and Xiaomi devices. I'm going to have to, how do you say that? There's got to be a, how do you say that? How do you pronounce that? Copy. Pronounce. Too many keyboards. Xiaomi. The best way to pronounce that word is to think of show me and then pronounce the first word as if it were shower. Shower me? Wait, what? Show me. Shao. Oh. Xiaomi. Okay, Xiaomi. I was pretty close. That's pretty good for reading Chinese words, right? Xiaomi. I'm ready for the takeover. All right, here we go. I'm joking. Gosh, come on. All right, so Xiaomi devices are impacted. So here's the list of phones that are impacted by this. Pixel 2 running Android 9. If you have a Huawei phone, you're not concerned about your security anyway, because the Chinese are looking at everything you're doing. Probably the same with the Xiaomi phones here as well. No one really has those. Moto Z3, the Oreo LG phones are impacted by this. Delicious. And Samsung's S7, S8, and S9 are all impacted. Okay. Ironically, this vulnerability was patched in December of 2017, but newer versions were found to be vulnerable. Google researchers believe that the vulnerability impacts the following devices that I already told you. Google researchers also said the exploit requires little or no per-device customization, meaning that it would be able to work on a wide range of handsets, although they have not confirmed this with manual reviews as they did for the devices listed above. So in other words, the phone types that I told you, there could be other phones that are impacted by this. That's not an exhaustive list. Oh, it was discovered by Project Zero, blah, blah, blah. However, the Android 0 day on iOS 0 days appear to be unrelated. Blah, 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 blah. Let's see, I'm looking for not as dangerous as it could have been. Was there a patch? It's not being tracked. Project Zero team was proof of concept code. Additional details, reproduce it. We have notified Android partners and a patch is available on the Android common kernel. Pixel 3 devices are not vulnerable, while Pixel 1 and 2 devices will be receiving updates. So it sounds like this month you're going to be getting updates for your phone, patches for your phone. They're going to patch this. If you see those pop up on your Android phone, if they're going to be called software updates, make sure you install those software updates because they'll keep your phone current. If you're running Semantic Endpoint for your cell phone, it will tell you if your software is not current and tell you to do the update. And a lot of times it'll give you a link that you just tap on, takes you to the right place on your phone to do the update. So it's pretty slick stuff. If you don't have Semantic Endpoint on your phone yet, this is another great example of why you need to have it. All right, so there's all of our stories. So let me go back through the comments here and see if anybody else has any thoughts on the 2 laptops that we posted. My brother-in-law has the same problem, flies landing on his screen. I don't like people touching my screen, including me. You're not alone, Brenda. I use the touchscreen constantly, says Nan. Okay, so maybe we do look at a touchscreen then. Zane, hi from Papillion. Hi, Zane. What's your opinion? Touchscreen or no touchscreen? Use touchscreen constantly. Assume Windows 10 will continue to increase utilization with future changes. Possibly and probably. I mean, there's going to be 2 modes. There always is. Windows 10. Oh, this is something else, guys. Not that you would ever do this, okay? But you might have a friend that might do this. If you ever go buy a computer from someone that is not Schrock Innovations, you're going to get a computer that comes to you in so-called S mode. S mode, like SAM or secure mode. It basically makes your new computer a Chromebook. You can only run apps that are from the Microsoft Store, and it's supposed to reduce the likelihood that you'll get infected with something. So that means you can't run antivirus, you can't run Secure Updater, you can't run Drive Advisor, you can't run any of these other utilities that make your computer better or help keep it maintenance or make sure that everything is working well. You're just out of luck, okay? Isn't that great? So, with all that said, it's very easy to get out of S mode when you're setting up the computer. If you set up the computer and don't take it out of S mode when you're setting it up, it's a little more difficult to get out of S mode. I don't know why they call it probably secure mode. S mode, really? You might as well call it. Oh, I'm not going to go there. Not going to go there. But yeah. So anyway, if a friend ever bought a computer from someplace that wasn't Schrock, at Schrock we realized that you probably want to run your genealogy programs or your QuickBooks or your Quicken or Secure Updater or your antivirus or any myriad of other programs. So we're going to make sure that the computer is not in S mode when it goes out the door. Just common courtesy for our customers. But you won't get that everywhere else, so heads up there. Okay, so they currently have 2 modes in Windows 10. They have the touchscreen mode and they have the non-touch mode, and or tablet mode and non-tablet mode. So tablet mode looks a lot like Windows 8, and regular mode looks a lot like Windows 7, basically. All right, use the touchscreen constantly. The idea of touchscreen is cool. Most people will probably not use it in real world. I think you're right, Mark. It looks really good, but lovely Kimberly wasn't here for the original introduction of this. So here is the dichotomy. If we go with the Asus laptop, it's hot, it's cool, it's really neat looking, it's going to look amazing in the catalogs. If I go with the Dell computer, they use the exact same body as last year's Dell computer. Therefore, we could use the exact same pictures in the catalog as last year. We'd have to update the specs, but the picture would be the same, reducing the number of photos and page designs that the lovely Kimberly has to do for the holiday catalog. So guys, with that in mind, are you going to make less work for the lovely Kimberly, or are you going to increase the workload on the lovely Kimberly? I'll leave that up to you. All right, does that second screen on the Asus like the mouse as well? Yeah, no, it is a mouse basically. So it's a touch screen that has quick launch capability, and then you can push a button on it, which puts it into touchpad mode, and it stays there until you take it out. But then it's a touchpad, just like the touchpad on your computer. All right. Do the coupon codes you send out for Safe Upgrade expire? Tried to use mine and told it was expired. It shouldn't expire. The coupon codes were only sent out to people who previously purchased Safe Upgrade. So if you purchased it last time, the coupon code was enabled for you. It's just kind of rather than me getting on the radio and saying, well, if you bought last time, you're getting $5 off, everybody, so make sure you watch for that email, because inevitably what happens is I get calls from everybody else that says I want $5 off. And I'm a pushover. My wife says I'm getting soft in my old age, so I give everyone the $5, whatever. So we sent out an email that has a coupon code first to everybody who purchased last time. People who used it before know the utility of the program. We want to make sure they don't get boxed out when we sell out, that they can't get any. We want to make sure that it's there. You have to have one for each computer. Once you use the coupon code one time, however, it will not work again. I am not aware of it being expired, but I will definitely check on that. I'll send an email right now, actually, to Alfonso over at the Interactive team to find out if it's expired. It should not be, though. Coupon code. Did the safe upgrade coupon code expire? There we go. I'll find out. And if it is expired, we'll get it renewed. So Alfonso's not in until Monday, so sit tight on Monday on that one, and we'll take a look for you. All right. Let's see. How safe is the cloud backup for sensitive records? Oh my gosh, KJ. Well, first of all, it depends on who you use. It depends on, wow, that was weird. I pulled my chair in and my head got really big. It depends on who you use. Did you see earlier in the show when I sneezed? I sneezed and my camera went out of focus. And that's a sneeze right there, right? Like, oh, and the camera was like, it must have like created a depression in the air or something, or my old cold front. Cold front, get it? So anyway, are they safe? It depends who you use. There's the free ones. There's like Dropbox, Google Drive, things like that. Anything that's free, they have no responsibility to keep your stuff. They want to keep it safe because it's a black eye for them. But if they lose your stuff, they don't care. It's just it. The other cloud backup programs, things like Carbonite, for example, they don't back everything up. They only back up the stuff in your user folder. They don't back up any video files, and they only back up things that are smaller in size than a gigabyte. So if you have a video file, like a movie or something on your hard drive, it's not getting backed up. This is one of the reasons why we have AfterSchrock Interactive. We've been so busy at AfterSchrock Interactive, we hired another employee for AfterSchrock Interactive, and we're still too busy to get done everything we want to get done. We're working on our own backup utility software that is a cloud-based backup that will allow you to have a safe, secure, time-lapsed backup. The ransomware stuff is just out of control, guys. It's killing people. Businesses, consumers alike, it's terrible. So having the ability to go back in time and grab your documents as they were a day ago after they've all been encrypted would make ransomware obsolete. And we can do that with the cloud. So we're working on doing that. The problem is the client software. There's so much to be done with the client software because it has to encrypt everything. It's got to be encrypted when we transmit it. We're not going to transmit it in the clear. So it's got to be encrypted. The second thing is a lot of people are going to back up the same files, right? So now we're creating a cross-relational database with MD5 hashes and everything else. And so like if you have two copies of the same picture on your computer, do we really need to compress, encrypt, and transmit both pictures? Or can we compress, encrypt, and transmit one picture and reference it twice? So, I mean, stupid things like that, that's a lot. It sounds pretty simple in logic, but when you start coding that, it gets to be really complex. There's already a utility out there that does all of this stuff for us. It's really cheap to buy. You can buy like a commercial license for it for like $70. So we're like, it's going to cost us way more than $70 to create our own client. It's also going to cost, can we white box the client is what we're trying to figure out. Can we put our name on it? Can we make it a AfterSchrock client, or are we just going to sell it as this is the way we're going to do it in the beginning? And if we have 1,000 customers that decide they want this for whatever we end up charging, probably somewhere along the lines of $5 or $10 a month, something like that, billed annually. If you decide you want to do that and we get 1,000 customers that want that, we'll probably build our own client and go through the work to have control of the client. Otherwise, we'll probably use this open source client that works really well. It encrypts everything, it compresses everything before it transmits, and Amazon will store it all for us. So Amazon is where we're going to be storing it if we do that. Is Amazon secure? Well, I can tell you that where we're going to store it has all security options enabled. I can tell you that the Department of Defense stores all their stuff on the Amazon cloud now. So it's at least as good as the Department of Defense, so I guess it's about as good as what you can get, right? So yeah, nothing is ever completely secure, but we can always do our best to make sure it stays secure. But the main reason your backups right now, guys, having a backup used to be just like, make sure you have a backup in case your hard drive fails. Now it's not enough to have a backup inside your computer that runs all the time, like the Schrock Safe and Stored, because the Schrock Safe and Stored backs up inside your computer. But if you get hit with an encryption virus, it encrypts everything on your main hard drive and your backup drive, and you have nothing. So what you need is a cold storage backup, a backup that you hook up, you back up, you unhook, you put it away, and you do that on a schedule. Well, nobody's going to do that. No, I don't do that, okay? Nobody's going to do that. It's a pain in the butt to remember to do that. I do it once in a while. Like the other day, my wife and I were like, hey, we haven't done a backup of your computer in a couple months. We should do that. And it takes like a day to do her computer. So, oh my gosh. What if there was a utility that just did it all the time, in real time for you, through the internet, right? Would that not be worth $10? $5 a month, $10 a month? Storage is so cheap now, we wouldn't have to limit your storage. You could just run it there, and then you have your own username and password for your data. And if your computer blows up and your hard drive dies and you get a new computer from us, we could just install the cloud program, put your username and password in, and download all your data back where it was. That would be amazing, right? So that's what we're working on right now. It's a little more complex than we initially thought, and we're just busy. That thing with Cliff Digital fell in our lap, and this is like we got to move on this. We got to help this guy out, and he needs help like now. So how fast? This is the test we're doing for Cliff Digital. How fast can we take a website page that doesn't rank on the first page of Google at all for its key search term right now, and elevate it to that first page, and then elevate it to the #1 spot so that he can start getting business off that and make his phone ring? How fast can we do it? And the answer is we don't know. We've never tried to do it with speed in mind. We've always done it with, these are the things we need to do, and we're going to plod through the checklist and get it done. There's a huge checklist of new things from the latest Google update that have to be changed on our site to make it compliant with what Google wants, to get our rankings to elevate even more. So we're working on changing that. We've got a project for a club that's going to come down possibly this month. We got Safe Upgrade going on. I mean, it's a lot for Schrock Interactive to deal with at one time. So anyway, stay tuned for that. I was hoping to have it out before the holiday season, but I think that's going to be a 2020 project, to be honest. All right, phones are touchscreen. I bought the Dell from you only because of the laptop. Oh, you don't want a touchscreen, Nan? I'm confused, Nan. Don't get me wrong. I'm on Team Asus. The Asus computers are amazing, but they make the parts that go into the Dell computer, so it's not that different, really. I don't know which way we're going to go. It burns me a little bit that the computer from Dell is going to look the same as last year's, because people are going to think it's the same computer as last year when it's really not. They sold really well last year. That's all I'm saying. So maybe we go with it again. I don't know. One of the guys was like, offer them both, and I'm like, it gets to be a point where you're offering too much, And we have some really fun things planned for the holiday special this year that you don't know about yet. Things that we're going to do that's very. Somebody asked me what the October special was. The October special this week is, oh my gosh, hold my coffee. I need to take a break from all the other specials this month, because we have Safe Upgrade going on, we have all this other stuff going on, and we're gearing up for the holiday special. We're getting catalogs made, we're getting prototypes built, we're getting display models in stock, and we're going to do something else that is never been done before at Schrock. We are going to sell more computers at Schrock in November and December than we have ever sold ever in company history. Ever. It's going to be epic. So anyway, stay tuned for that. Alrighty, so last call for questions, guys, so I can get rolling here. Edited last word to touchscreen. Let's go back up to Nan. Nan, where are you at, Nan? She uses her touchscreen constantly, and she bought it only because of the touchscreen. Got it. That's weird. You edited your comment, Nan, but it didn't edit it on my screen. That's kind of in my feed. That's weird. So you bought it because of the touchscreen. So I hear what you're saying. The overwhelming majority of people have said they want a touchscreen here. The touchpad on the Asus doesn't function as a touchscreen. You can't. I mean, it's a touchpad. I mean, you can move your mouse around the screen, but you can touch things on that screen, but it's not like a secondary screen for your computer. It has its own special little operating system, kind of like a phone. So for what I hear you guys saying is the touchpad looks cool, Thor, and I would not use it. Therefore, I would rather have the touch screen than the touch pad that I will not use. So it sounds like we're going to be going with the Dell Inspiron 5000 2-in-1 for the holiday special, and we will have configurations out to you probably next week to let you know we're looking for testers. If you're interested in being a holiday special tester, you can go ahead and give us a call and say, I want to be a holiday special laptop tester. The price is $14.99. The guys will be confused because they're like, are we selling those yet? I thought we were trying to decide between two laptops. Thor did in the AfterSchrock today. It's the Inspiron. So there we go. All right, last call, questions, and then we're out of Dodge here. So what do we got, guys? Anything else that you need me to answer for you before I break out of here for the day? Questions going once. Questions going twice. Sold. All right. Thanks, guys, for all your comments. Thanks for being a part of the program. As always, you guys are my super fans. You guys are the people that are here for the AfterSchrock. You're here for the show. We sat down and figured out that we have about 600 like really core customers at Schrock. 600 people out of 26,000. There are 600 core people that are the heart and soul, the beating heart and soul of Schrock Innovations, and you guys are among those 600. So thank you very much for that. I appreciate it. If you have a moment, it would be incredibly helpful to us if you could go onto yelp.com and review Schrock Innovations. Let me get you a link here. I know this is kind of outside of what you normally might do because people usually only go to Yelp when they want to complain about something. But that's exactly why we need you to go there. Is, over the years, you make mistakes. We've been in business for 20 years. So we have 11 reviews on Yelp, and we have a 2.5-star rating right now. Now, the reason this is important is Yelp decides whose reviews it will post and whose it will not. So we have 11 reviews, but you will only see 2 on the page. And so basically the reason for that, let's see, so we've got this one here, we got Colleen, so you're only going to see a certain, like Jeffrey and Havelock Lincoln. I took my computer for repair of the sound card. They ended up destroying my computer. It was a fake review. Pretty much anyone that doesn't have a picture is usually a fake review, unless they're just somebody that hasn't uploaded a picture yet. So some of these customers I recognize, like Colleen J from Wahoo, I recognize you. Harry from Omaha, Harry F, I recognize you. Arnaldo M, I don't recognize you, but you gave us a 4-star, so it's probably not fake. Chad L in Elkhorn, Nebraska. Terrible service. No one knows what's going on when you call. Very slow. Spent over $1,000 on a new desktop. Has been 3 weeks and no computer. I normally don't write reviews because maybe it was just my experience. When I see the same issues popping up on multiple reviews, and it's a real problem. One of our biggest local competitors is in Elkhorn. So anyway, just saying. Received a sales call from someone. This company is named Thor. Filed an FCC complaint. Okay. We're sending out endpoint renewal code. We're trying to get you to renew your antivirus, and we get a 1-star review for that. So that's the gist of it. So if you could go to yelp.com and fill out a review for Schrock Innovations, it would be incredibly helpful for us. And I'm going to get you a link here that you can do that. It'd mean the world to us. If your show's publicly, great. If it doesn't, it might not. But the effort of doing it really helps us out a lot. We've got 5 or 6 new 5-star reviews on Yelp since we started trying to get reviews on Yelp, and it has not changed our average at all. However, ironically, every time we get a 5-star review, Yelp calls us and explains how if we would only pay them a monthly fee, they would be willing to help us improve our Yelp reputation. So out of principle, I am still not paying Yelp because it's an extortion game, and it really makes me angry. I like reviews. Reviews are honest. We make mistakes. Some of those reviews we earned. Most of them we didn't, but some of them we did. And if we made a mistake and got a 1-star review, I'm going to go back and do everything I can to make it right. And then if you're still going to give me a 1-star review, I can't control that. I can't change that. But boy, oh boy, when I get 5-star reviews from my customers and they don't go into my average unless I pay Yelp, that really is frustrating. And Yelp's thing is like, well, we know you're a legit business because you're adhering to Yelp's whatever. But the problem is, so many other websites use Yelp reviews to determine who they recommend on their sites that if we don't start improving our Yelp rating real soon here, we're going to have an issue. And at some point, you have to make the business decision: do you pay the terrorists? Because you need to you need to get your product fixed, right? You need to get it done. So yeah, that's gonna be unfortunate. So I really don't want to have to do that. So if you could help me out, I'd really appreciate it. All right, guys, I've got to get out of here. Let's see, one more comment. You too, Carolyn. You have a great Sunday as well. We'll see you again next week, guys. Thanks a lot.